Welcome to Views from the Ridge. I'm Liam,
I'm Gavin.
I'm Tyler.
and today we're reviewing Companion. So we all watched Companion last night. We're going to get into a spoiler-free review the beginning of the video. Then there will be a big disclaimer, and we'll get into a full breakdown of the movie. But you want to read the synopsis, basically, what it says on Letterboxd?
Yeah. So, Companion, filmed by Drew Hancock. It's a billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate.
Okay, that's a good spoiler-free.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, I like that.
Don't read the description.
Do not read the description. Do not watch too many trailers. If you're watching this movie, definitely you need to go in without knowing anything, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I agree completely, yeah. I think that's a great description of the movie, and I think that billionaire did a great job in the movie. I think he stole the show when he was on screen.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. Before his death, which I guess that's not a spoiler. I wish it didn't even say that, to be honest, because I wouldn't have expected that either.
I think if you go in, like, when you see his character, you know something's going to happen to him
Yes.
regardless, though.
You know something? That guy did great. I loved his performance. I don't either. I looked him up after the movie, but he did great. He was super funny. I'm not gonna try to go. Okay, this is spoiler free. So, but he did great in his role. I will say that, and I definitely think he will get recast in a similar role in the future because of how good he did.
I wouldn't go into this thinking it's a horror movie. I would definitely expect comedy romance, like a dark comedy.
Dark comedy thriller. I think there's a thriller element to it as well. I was expecting a little more horror. I don't know why I thought that. Definitely not a horror movie at all.
Oh, yeah, no, not a horror movie. Honestly, there's some slasher to it, I'd say, because there's some kills that were pretty good.
Mhm.
But other than that, yeah,
True.
it's just a dark comedy with some thriller aspect to it.
Okay, we're resuming spoiler free, bro.
We filmed the whole thing, and then the microphone wasn't on, so...
We filmed about 6 minutes. We'll resume where we were. Tyler was reading his Letterboxd review, no spoiler review.
So what I said on Letterboxd was pretty fun film to watch with others, or if you just want something to watch. Cool concept and story took a turn I didn't see because I knew nothing about it going into, which is how I recommend it. And to end it, I said solid movie. Don't know if I would watch it again.
Definitely. Do not read anything about the movie. If you want to watch it, it's worth watching at least once. At least.
I think you should watch it at least once. I think you'll enjoy it a lot. I don't care what genre you like. I think you'll enjoy the movie.
I think it's enjoyable as well.
It has a good message too about it.
Yeah.
Like
It 100% has underlying tones. They're not so underlying. It's pretty obvious.
It's pretty obvious when you even just like in the first 10 minutes, you can kind of tell with how characters act.
And it gets really, really obvious later in the
Yeah,
movie.
yeah.
I'll get into that later in the spoiler, but it's very, very apparent later on. Anything else we have to say about the spoiler-free movie other than we recommend it? I recommend it. I think you should watch it. I think it's fun, and I would recommend it, especially if you kind of like that dark comedy genre. It's funny. It's a funny movie.
It was made by the guy that made Barbarian. Yeah. So if you like Barbarian, you'll probably like Companion.
Fair enough. All right. Disclaimer. Alarm sirens ringing in your ears, flashing in your eyes. Spoilers ahead. Do not listen to this video. It's not worth listening to us talk about. Go watch the movie. Okay. Like I said before this cut, make sure the mic's on. The mic is on. The title card was beautiful. That was the first thing I wrote in my notes. The title card was beautiful. The scenery was beautiful.
I agreed. That was the first thing I wrote. We opened our notes at the exact same time. The title card reflected on the water, which was cool, and it had this beautiful like pink with like this nice font, this Valentine's Day kind of font, and like Tyler said before we cut it.
It's like the title card gave me like Barbie vibes, but you could tell something was wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't get that the first time, but I totally agree. Like, thinking back on it, that is very, very, very true.
That's the thought I had. This movie's very similar to Barbie after I thought about it. Like, it's a non-human person coming into a relationship and it leaving this toxic dude.
Yeah.
And
Low-key,
it's a very
yeah.
similar
And like
way.
even the end credits too, with like all the pink and like
Yeah,
the red
yeah.
text. On
Evil
it.
Barbie.
It was very much
Evil Barbie Megan kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. Okay. It reminded me of Megan in a little bit, but it's way better than Megan. Way, 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 way better than Megan. So, yeah, the title shot was beautiful. The scenery was really beautiful, and they did well with the cinematography and shooting that scenery and making it look how beautiful it is. Next.
Bear-like
Yes.
scenery.
I thought of Cocaine
Cocaine
Bear
Bear.
multiple times
Which
throughout
is
the
a
movie.
great movie. I love
Especially the woods chases and stuff. Cocaine Bear and the comedy. That comedy in the movie is very similar to Cocaine Bear.
I
Have you seen
agree.
Cocaine
I
Bear?
still haven't seen
Bro.
it.
Oh, you
I
gotta
remember
watch
we
it.
were gonna see it
Yeah.
when it came out, and I just never got.
I watched
was
it like 3 times.
I wasn't able.
The soundtrack in this movie is good. The mixing and audio quality is great. Actually, it's great in Companion. I would say.
And I have a note after you. I said in the last take, the color contrast between Kat and Iris' outfit is the first thing we see of Kat after she's already been mentioned. And it proves to be like a devil-angel kind of relationship. Like, Kat is in all black, and Flo from Progressive, it's in all white.
Yeah. She looks like Flo. I thought it about every 15 minutes how she looks like Flo. It's the headband, the hair, the wolf cut,
About it.
but the white outfit and headband. She looked like her a lot into me throughout it. Here we go. Best part of the movie.
Jack Quaid.
Yeah, bro.
Everyone in the theater was laughing immediately when it cut to that. And I usually feel uncomfortable in those, but it was really funny. But we were laughing way
Oh,
more.
yeah, no.
Dude,
yeah.
I could not stop laughing. It was so
was
funny.
So funny.
It was a great everything between like from the soft dance scene music and it's like romantic and they're finally kind of getting romantic for the first time. It just
Yeah, hard cut right his
Crazy.
face.
well done.
I said like every single joke landed for me. Like they was actually like
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
It didn't feel forced at all. Like
Yeah.
the jokes are actually good. There was the one where like with Jack Quaid after this is kind of later down the line, but when he shuts off Iris after she kills the Sergey,
Yeah.
and he makes that joke about processing because she's an android.
Yeah,
And,
that
like,
was funny.
he doesn't
And
even
then he,
mention
like,
it. He just kind of like smirks.
Yeah.
And that just was like funny to me for some reason. I don't know
Agreed.
why.
Totally agree. I know the exact scene you're talking about. And now that I think about it, we forgot to talk about Sergey in the spoiler free.
Oh, yeah.
Dude is hilarious.
He steals
Oh,
the
yeah.
movie.
He
He's so
actually
funny.
does steal it.
He's so great in his roles. From the first shot where they mention him, and then it
Yeah.
not pans, it cuts directly to him on the stairs. And
Dude,
you're just
he
like,
was
what
so
the fuck?
funny.
You're just like, what
That's
is
a
he?
Cocaine Bear character.
Yeah.
100%.
Yes. Yeah. His character is really, really funny. The guy does it well. So
But you
props to
also
him.
Don't like him at the same time, but he does do really good because he's
Yes.
kind of scummy.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to go there, and I realized he was going to go there when he came to the lake.
Yeah.
But when I first saw him, that's not what I thought was going to be his character.
Okay, I think I have the next one,
Mhm.
but I said Hollywood's usually terrible at making gay couples like not feel forced. Even though this one was literally forced, it didn't feel forced.
I agree.
Yeah,
Like,
even
yeah.
like
They seemed like a nice couple
Yes.
before you knew that Patrick was an android or whatever.
And
Yeah.
can we talk about Patrick being an android? I don't know if I'm stupid,
no,
but
I did not
I
see that
usually
twist
predict
coming.
twists like
Yeah.
good, but I
Me
did
too.
not get that at all.
me too. I'm very good, bro. Humbly, I usually get it, and I can't believe it. But that one was very well done. I think a lot of it comes down to the acting.
Yeah,
Was great.
He's a good actor. He was in You season 4. So last time I saw
Yeah,
him, he was.
yeah,
I was watching him get golden showers.
Golden Showers, yeah, that's what I remember him from.
Yeah.
I never watched that.
He was in Smile too, wasn't he? Or Smile
Yes, Smile
1? Yeah, Smile 2. I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
that. We can
I haven't seen it.
Let's live react.
Live react.
Okay, live reacting to Smile 2 incoming. Okay, but yes, he did great in that role. He was one of the top in that movie for me.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
he's a good actor. I hope to see him in more movies. Like he's actually a good actor.
And
He's funny too.
so was his boyfriend. He did great.
He was in Spider-Man,
hilarious.
right?
And you know who that is? I didn't know it till today when I looked it up. You know who it is?
Who?
Puss in Boots 2, the dog. Puss in Boots 2.
He was-
Puss in Boots, the Last Wish. Perrito.
Oh, so like
I
That's
thought
him.
you meant the wolf. I was like, what the fuck?
No, the dog.
I thought you meant death. I was like,
No.
no way.
I said funny twist. Patrick was robot too, and makes sense because you think about it back on it how they met. When he describes how they met, it's
Yeah.
totally an android sequence.
Yeah, it's
when you
totally
think back,
a meet cute that like,
Yes.
would be a drop down box.
yeah.
Yeah.
But when he's talking about it and the way he talks about it, you don't think it the first time, but it makes absolute sense when you rethink
Yeah.
about it. And
He was almost like too perfect of a like.
it also
It was too
yeah.
perfect of a couple too.
He
It-
could cook well.
Yeah,
he
he cooked
was
perfect dinner.
really
He could
like
be
well
fine,
spoken. Yeah.
It also made a lot of sense to me because one thing I wrote down originally that I had an issue with was when Eli was on the phone and Patrick was trying to tell him Iris is leaving, and he was like, "Be quiet, be quiet," and Patrick just stopped talking about it because like no person would actually not like tell you she's leaving.
Oh
she's
yeah,
leaving.
the person you're.
But
have
he
tied
has
up.
to listen to him, so he
Yeah.
stopped. You know what I mean?
I didn't catch that.
I thought because I was like, bro, come on, he's not actually just gonna listen to him and not say Iris is leaving. She was tied up.
I didn't write about that because I thought it was just really funny.
It was funny, but
She
you know what I
just
mean? though?
walked out of the door.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of things in this movie, a lot of things that they say the first time that you don't think of being important. They really are. Like when Sergey said he has his fingers in a lot of pots, he was literally saying he has his fingers in a lot of pots. He works for Sod Company.
Oh,
Literally.
He gets his hands dirty.
Because he wasn't even a
Yes.
bad guy.
No. And he
was
said,
like a bad guy and a
yeah.
bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
But he wasn't.
yeah,
Like
he said he
fucking
gets his
monster.
hands dirty and he has his fingers in a lot of pots. Because I remember the first time I was like, fingers in a lot of pots or whatever. He said something like pots, and I was
No,
like,
yeah,
what?
it was pots. He said
Yeah.
fingers in a lot of pots.
And that makes sense. Again, there was multiple times I said stuff. I like how multiple times before the end of the movie she mentioned there was a high chance of rain, and then it became that downcast mood in the end, and the rain came.
At first, I thought it was just like an inside joke for the couple.
Me too.
That like you don't know, but it's just supposed to like be a known.
Yeah.
When she said the exact temperature and 85% precipitation,
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
thought
oh,
so too.
that could be an inside joke. But then you were like later, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
she's actually
that
an
makes
android.
sense.
I got it spoiled for me that she was a robot. I think it was in one of the trailers.
It was in the newest trailer. I did too. Sadly, if I did not know that, the movie would have been even better.
Yeah, no, the trailer that we saw when we saw Nosferatu, I don't think it spoiled
No,
anything.
that trailer did not. That was the original trailer.
Yeah,
That
no.
trailer was really well made. That trailer was just intriguing to enough for me to want to watch the movie, and it didn't show enough. But you can tell it had a weird thriller vibe, and you're like, "What the hell is happening
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
movie?"
You
And
used
also-
the hand over the camera.
Yeah.
This is Hollywood. They may not see this, whoever runs Hollywood. Please stop making trailers that give away everything.
Thank
It
you.
ruins it so much.
does.
Yes.
Ruins every movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's also on the consumers for needing to know exactly what happens before they go into a movie.
No, 100%. That's a fact.
Also, I think we can all agree that Sophia Thatcher
Yeah.
is just
Sophie?
Sophia. I don't know.
I think it's Sophie.
Yeah. Well, she did amazing.
she did really
She
good.
did amazing.
She was the standout
Yeah.
of the movie.
Either her or Jack Quaid. But
he
Jack
did great
Quaid's
too.
just
He's
like,
always
You
does
expect
that.
that from
He
him.
does
what
that.
I
He plays
said.
himself so well.
Jack Quaid is a rising star. He will be the lead of a lot of movies coming.
He's
up,
gonna
I
be
think.
more famous than his dad.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Good take. Because that's somewhat of a hot take because of how famous he is, but that's a good take. He's great.
I think he's
like
great
him
too.
better.
He's really funny. He's
And
really well
he-
versed in his comedic timing. I think.
Yes, I think what I wrote or said is that he's perfect for dark comedy.
Yeah.
He is perfect for dark
Yeah.
comedy. roles.
Everyone
Yes.
first got introduced to
The Boys.
him with The Boys, and that's a
Dark
dark comedy.
And then this movie, and then the new trailer for the other movie coming up where he can't feel pain. That's like, it's like a dark comedy.
Novocaine looks very good.
Novocaine.
Looks great.
Dark comedy.
Novocaine reaction coming soon, probably.
Yeah.
When it
A
comes
review,
out.
definitely.
Review.
We're definitely gonna review that movie.
I had one gripe with the movie. One thing in red. I had two initially, but I changed one to a green. But the one I have in red is 100% intelligent robot. When she changed her settings, wouldn't grab the gun in the woods.
I thought the same thing. I thought the exact same thing when she was fighting over. She just shot through Eli. She was at 100 intelligence. She shot Eli. He was on top of
and
her.
she ran.
Then she just ran. She would.
You would grab
It was
the
right
gun.
on her
Keep it
hand
at
still.
least.
She would have kept the gun.
Yeah, because then
That's
they
the
don't
one
have
thing.
anything to get you.
Yeah, yeah. But that was another thing I thought maybe that gun will come back later because a lot of things they did in the movie actually did come back
Yeah.
that I had issues with at first.
Basically everything. Did.
Almost everything. I said the inability to lie comes back for her convincing
I
Patrick.
wrote that too.
That inability to lie that they built up throughout the movie for the robots literally can't lie. That
It
came back to
saved them.
convince Patrick, which
Yeah.
literally saved her.
I
because he
liked
was gonna
that
kill her.
part. I said I loved the can't lie aspect and how they used it so many times throughout the movie for different things. Which another thing about Patrick, I put this is not the meaning of the movie, but I think it's a good message. It's that just like humans, robots are made to truly only love one person in their life. Like when Patrick realized he was being used by Huey, he he like shut down. He didn't want to even live anymore because he was supposed to be with that one person.
Going back to Sophie Thatcher real quick, I wrote down and thought about it the whole time. Her acting is so good. Her facial acting without speaking was so
Yeah,
good. You
yeah.
can literally feel the emotions, which she's a robot, but you can feel her emotions and what she's thinking with her mouth, like her eyes. All of her facial acting was amazing throughout the movie, and I thought it a lot of times.
I
You know,
agree.
it's you don't see that a lot anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just rely on
Yeah.
their words or like body language. But like she did a really good job at using her face.
She reminded me in that aspect, not anything else, of Mia Goth. Mia Goth's really good at using her face to get her message across and without saying words, and she did really good at that. I said funny how an AI is more human morally than the humans in the movie.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I think that's one of the parts of
Yeah.
the movie. I think it just shows human corruption.
Yeah.
It's kind of what that's poking at.
Yeah, no, they're pretty on the nose. with their themes. Like it's like pretty obvious to pick up what they're putting down.
And another thing about that, like I said earlier, it comes back. The themes come back harder and harder and harder until it's like right in your face. Like when he's at the dinner table, when you're thinking about abusive relationship at the end of a dinner table scene, bro, that's like the epitome of abusive boyfriend. And then when she breaks out of the chair, and he's like chasing her through the house, like say you love me, like you know you can't live without me. I'm the only one. Or
say
whatever.
I'm everything to you.
Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah, when it gets to that point,
hated him so much.
He did great.
You know, Jack Quaid's a star.
Yes, he is. I also said her opening monologue at the end and the beginning was super good. Like the juxtaposition, it was the exact same monologue in the very opening scene and the closing scene, but with different frames. And it's her in the shower, and she actually like peels her skin off to see the robot hand at the different instead of seeing him for the first time at the same part of the monologue. It was really good.
I also
really
thought
good.
that ending was really satisfying when she saw another version of herself, robot, and she like gave her a wave with the robotic hand to like give her a little hint. I thought that was really well done.
Oh, what I wrote in big, bold, capital letters, I didn't say it to either of you guys, but I knew that either Josh or I knew Josh was going to die to that cork opener, like the wine bottle.
because they kept showing it.
Yeah,
over
they
and over and
at
over.
the beginning they do a pretty like Sergei's trying to open a bottle and it's like taking forever, and so it's so noticeable.
That's true.
And then at the end there's the shot with Patrick opening a wine bottle, and it's literally
or somebody else.
yeah, but Patrick's is like it's literally
Yes.
just a close up shot of it opening a wine bottle. And I was like, that's going to kill somebody.
Also,
That kill was great.
oh yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
It wasn't brutal.
That kill was
It wasn't
great.
brutal at all, but it got the point across with just being a slow and just like you could feel it.
That kill was great. I really liked her suicide shot, or where he made her pull the gun trigger to her face. The way they did that, and her eye like blinked one at a time through the bullet, and then turned white through.
Yeah.
It was slow mode. It looked really good, and her hand looked great when she peeled the stuff off. The effects of that looked great
Yeah.
to me.
Oh,
The
The only
effects looked great.
thing though is, I mean, I guess it got damaged, but it didn't move as like it moved more
Yeah.
robot-y,
Then-
but that doesn't make sense
Because
if
she would have
she's
skin,
like
yeah.
it doesn't make sense how her hand moved in the robot form
true.
compared to how she moved like a human normally.
I was assuming it was more of the damage.
yeah,
aspect,
that's
the
what
fire
that's what
damage.
I'm thinking. So
I
it's not
guess that makes
that's
it-
not like a gripe or anything. Like I don't really care.
Yeah.
The one oh shoot, Jimmy Butler trade to the Warriors. So I had a negative that turned into a positive, and that was would have loved to see Officer Hendrick's face.
Me too.
But then I said never mind, and I thought
Me
they
too.
weren't gonna bring it back because they're that pile in the
Yes.
woods. I was like, holy shit, because he got a brutal kill.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
he did. Yeah, he did. Patrick was on 100 aggression, just pounding his
dude.
face,
He was
face
on
throttling
time.
him.
I liked that they added that slow,
Yeah.
little tiny detail of sound design where you could feel that
Yeah.
he was a robot with the punches. It
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah, it was. Yes, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, really, you're gonna show all that and not show his face? Like, I was like, come on, like effects team, you can make that face. And then it came back. Loved that. I loved
also shout out to my day player actors out there. He did really good. The officer. That was a very small role, but he did really good. And I
it. He was
liked,
funny.
I liked Patrick coming up behind him.
Oh, dude, yeah.
was a good shot.
That was also great, like with the comedy of her being like
language.
speaking German,
Yes.
and she was telling the
Yes.
truth the whole time, but
Yes.
the officer couldn't speak German. to
Yeah.
understand
And at
what
first
she
I was
said.
like, why is she switching her language? And then I was like, oh, she can't lie. So of
Yeah.
course she's gonna switch her language. She literally would have had to tell him. So yeah, that was good. And the effects, the effects on her eyes looked good when she changed the colors, like toggled the
Yeah.
colors and stuff. It looked good. It didn't look stupid and forced.
I thought it was kind of stupid
Really?
with the voice changing.
Oh yeah,
That was-
You can't really match someone's exact
there's no
voice
way
by
you-
setting it slider.
Agreed.
And it didn't sound like him. I didn't think it sounded like him.
I think
It
it's
didn't.
just close enough.
Later
but
in the movie, it
still.
did when she was fully realized. That
Yeah.
was scary.
Yeah.
When she was in the
Was
shadows.
she doing that herself?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
because that guy gave her an upgrade.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
she
That was
was able
up
to do
when
whatever.
she was fully free, so she could toggle any setting just by thinking about it.
Which good casting for those two as well.
Yeah.
The two android workers.
They
I thought
did
they
well
did
for
good
that.
too. for
He's
a
like,
small
that
part.
guy's fucked.
Yeah, he modded it.
yeah. That was funny.
Again, the
Okay.
humor is very good. Like it was actually like funny. It was not like
It was funny.
a lot of Marvel and like
Yeah.
new movies coming out try to
Forced.
force humor.
Forced.
This was actually good humor for once.
It was funny. If you want to just watch a comedy, watch this movie. You can watch this as a
agree.
comedy
I
movie.
agree.
And
Oh,
it'll be
you
funny.
definitely can watch it as a comedy movie.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's all I had in my notes.
That's basically it for me for like specific review points that I wrote down as well. Oh wait, one more thing. This was also a very good touch. Speaking about those workers for the robot company, I forget their name.
For like
Empathics. The two workers from Empathics, yes, he thought the guy was familiar, and I was like, come on, he would recognize his own robot. But early in the movie,
They said
the
that
first
they've
time
been
Eli
dis-
sleeps him, he says that that's an older model. he says, "Why don't you get an upgrader already?" or something like.
Because
Like,
they stopped making them.
Eli said that
A
way
while
earlier in the movie, which makes sense as well. So all these little things that you could like gripe about, they actually do come back and they make the movie make more sense.
I also like that stupid scene of him in the dinosaur costume and how they did that with Huey.
Okay.
Or fucking
Jack
Quaid.
Josh.
Yeah,
Josh.
They did that with Josh and with Eli.
I actually did not. I liked the original scene of it. I did not. I was like, come on, we get it. And it kept going with the Huey. The Josh. The Josh kept going. And I was like, yeah, we get it. We already watched this scene. But it makes it better because if that wasn't in the movie, whenever Patrick is thinking about that and it flickers between, that would have kind of looked weird if you wouldn't have seen that scene. So I was like, okay, whatever.
I just
I'm
thought
okay
it
with
was stupid funny.
It was
So,
funny.
I
Your little
liked
dance
that
at
part
the
of
end.
it,
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
like, I'm Patrick.
Yeah. It was funny. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
I also thought that was really like funny for Eli to make the reason they fell in love. I thought that was stupid. Like that's something that someone would do, some random situation like that.
Overall, the movie
Are we on
it
this
Well, I
one?
have
touched
5
on topics.
categories.
I know.
Are
I'm not
we
doing
going
that yet.
into
No,
scores?
not yet. I was just gonna say like, it obviously some of the topics it's touching on is like abuse. Obviously,
It's very apparent, especially at the
domestic
end.
abuse.
If you couldn't pick up
emotional.
on it in the first 20 minutes,
Yeah.
first off, like, you should pick up on it. It's pretty
Yes,
easy.
it is.
But if you don't pick up on it somehow, you know by the end.
But I said it's a fun, creative spin on like AI. Like people make all these movies now about AI takeovers.
Oh, yeah.
This is like a actually creative new movie that's about that, and it does well in what it's doing. I think.
Yeah. And I think you can tell that someone's a little sick and weird if they're buying a sex bot that's 100% intelligent. I think that's a hint that they're messed up anyways, you know.
You know, I want to know, like, this doesn't ruin the movie, but how did he afford that?
Yeah, he said it was
How
a
much-
rental. So.
He said it was a rental.
Yeah, but
He probably
again,
took
I feel like
loans out
that's
for that
got,
thing.
yeah, I was going to say, like, that's still got to cost so
Yeah.
much. Well, I guess
think
he
he
was
took
doing
loans
it to
out.
get, like, $12 million or, like, $4 mil. So it was going to pay off.
Okay.
but-
Do we think he got her for in the first place for that, or did he have her first?
I think he was still with Kat, and I think that they had planned it all along.
Yeah, I think they planned it.
I think that makes sense as well.
But he just took the opportunity to have sex with it because he had it.
Valid.
Yeah, because he's a loser. But.
This was the first thing he did when he unboxed
Yeah, no,
her.
like literally, that was funny
Yeah,
too.
that was funny.
He was like introducing himself and then just
Yeah.
cut to like the
Yeah.
door
Oh,
of the
fuck,
bedroom.
oh, fuck.
Yeah, they're just like they're going at it.
I would
Unboxing.
love another shot of his face. But no.
That was a great shot. I can never get that out of my mind, but somehow it wasn't just like disgusting. It was actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so 5 categories that we're going to review out of 10. Those being cinematography, acting, writing, message, and score. And 5 out of 10 is not a bad rating.
That's mid,
That's
mediocre.
good. Like that's solid. Mid.
Five's not even bad.
it's
at
not
all.
bad. It's not
Right in the
good.
middle.
It's just in
Average.
the middle.
It's
It's
average.
something you could see out of most movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay,
Yes.
cinematography is up first, and I think I'm gonna give cinematography a 6. There wasn't much they could do with it.
It's not
Besides
one
the
of those
outside
movies.
shots. It wasn't some artsy fartsy movie, and it did good with what it had. So I'm gonna give it a 6.5 on the cinematography scale.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with Gavin. It'd probably like a 6.5, because it's not one of those movies that try and be big and bold, but it's also not just going to give up on its cinematography.
Yeah.
It's still going to try, and I think it did a good job.
I literally was gonna say 6 or 6.5. I swear I'm not just copying. That's exactly what I thought as well. Like they said, 6.5 is good. They did good for what they were doing. For what that movie is, they did good with the cinematography. There was multiple shots that I actually enjoyed, and I love cinematography. That's one of my favorite things about film. And they did good for what that movie is, and I would give it about a 6.5 as well. A 7 is a little bit too high for me. So
Yeah.
we can average it out at a 6.5 cinematography. We
Yeah,
can
sounds
concur on that.
That's good.
What's the next one?
Acting, which I think
Acting.
Acting, I'm gonna give it like a 8.5, because like it's a romance comedy, so there's not really anything deeper that you could do. What Sophie Thatcher added to it in a deep level, but there wasn't really opportunity for the other characters to do anything on a deeper level besides Patrick, who did that. So I think I'm gonna give acting like an 8.5.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to have to – I might go more towards the 8.5 side, because they're just like standout performances. Patrick was great. Sophie Thatcher obviously was really good. And Jack Quaid, I mean, I would say he is the star of it, honestly, just because, like, he's Jack Quaid at this point. You know who he is.
True.
And then all the small roles were good. The only one like I didn't really feel as much was Katz. Like Katz, like just
I agree.
like she was okay. Like it was all right, but like everyone else did their job. Even the two empathics guys, they were really good.
Yeah.
Like it was solid. Like it was 8.5. Like it was good. It was great.
I could be high on it, but I would give the acting a 9. I think, bro, because for that movie, like there was genuinely these performances were, I guess 8.5 too is good. I can agree with that, but the performances were like they did not leave anything for you to be like, I wish they would have done that with their performance of the acting. There was everything and more. They did so good. And yes, Jack Quaid is the star in terms of the biggest name for that movie. Like, if you're telling someone you're going to watch Companion, you say Jack Quaid's in it. But for me, Sophie Thatcher stole the show. The acting that she did, like I said earlier, like I just noticed every little thing she was doing. She had little mannerisms throughout the whole time, forcing her smile in the beginning. Everything she did was really well done, and it felt genuinely authentic as a human, which she wasn't even. Yeah. So, yeah.
And to piggyback off what Tyler said about Jack Quaid being a rising star, I think Sophie Thatcher is too. She's done amazing in Yellow Jackets and Boogeyman, which is a PG-13 horror movie that I thought was awesome. So,
okay. What's the next one? I'll start.
Writing is up next.
Writing? Bro, writing's high for me, bro. Like, I would also go with like at 8 probably. I would say like a 7.5, 8, which is high, and that's good. Because this movie was well written. I would go with an 8. I'll stick with an 8 because, like I said, almost everything ties up at the end. So that is very deliberate writing. That's what comes into writing for me. And the characters were well written. The script was well written in general. The plot was well written. Everything tied back. Everything made sense. It's a creative writing. This was a new type of movie. I have never seen a movie like this movie. I've never seen a plot like this movie, I'll say. The plot was pretty unique and creative, and I will give credit to the writing in that category, so I'm going to stick with a 8.
I think I might have to go. I feel like it's I would say a 9, but I think I'm going to go 8.5 because I feel like the abusive relationship side of things, well, it's a great message. Like, people need to stop acting that way. They put it, like, almost too, like, it was, like, very forced at the end with Jack Quaid's whole thing, like, tell me I am everything to you. Mm-hmm. To me, that just felt, like, so over the top that I don't see it happening.
True.
And so, I mean, I guess I don't know, but, like, to me, it felt over the top, but, like, it was still great. The twist with Patrick being an android, I didn't see.
Yeah.
And so that was really good. And all the characters, like, you liked and disliked the characters that you're supposed to like and dislike. So I would give it 8.5.
Totally. And they all nailed the comedy in each of their roles. Yeah, everybody did. Every single one.
I agree. I'm going to go 9 for the writing. I agree with that last part of it being, like, so forced at the end. But I also think those tiebacks, I haven't seen that many twists and tiebacks in a movie for a very long time. Yeah. And I think the monologues were really well written. Yeah. Which you don't really see monologues in movies anymore. It's more of a play thing.
They did it well.
But they did it really well. So I'm going to go 9 for the writing. And meaning is up next, or message. So who wants to start on that?
You got the mic.
I guess I'll start. Message. I feel like in today's age, abusive relationships are being called out more because of this whole like emotional abuse and mental abuse is getting more like talked about. And in the earlier days, it wasn't really a thing. You know, people were like, oh, whatever, it's just feelings. But I feel like that being said, there's also more movies about that now. So I'm going to give Message a 6.5. Like, it's a great message, but I think it's being done a lot. So it's not some new message that's being put out there. But they did great at getting the message across, and it's a good message. So I'm going to go like 6.5.
I would also probably, I think I'm going to go with 6. I'm not saying it's not an important thing to worry about, because it definitely is. Importance of the message, I would say it's higher than a 6, but it's almost an overdone plot line, and like in every show or movie you watch, there's always some abusive weird couple, to where it's true. It's an overly used trope in a lot of movies and shows nowadays. But with that being said, it was still done well, but it was kind of forced at the end, so I have to give it like a 6.
I was going to say 6. I was going to say 6 as well. Basically, everything you guys said wrapped it up for me. I mean, we're not ranking the importance of the meaning. That's not what this ranking is. It's not. But in terms of, like, I've seen this over and over and over, and it is important. but it's just I'm not gonna be able to rank something that's been done over and over and over again as a highly, highly rated. 6 is good. They did well with what they were getting across, and like you said earlier, I'm demoting it a bit because it was so forced at the end that it was just like punching me in the face.
I'd rather think during a movie
Yes.
like about the message than it just putting it in my face.
100%.
But that's just my thoughts on it.
Then saying like, "Oh, here's the message. Now go."
While you got the mic, what's the next?
Next,
so
next
we're
item.
going to 6.
Score. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't pay much attention to the score going into it, and I didn't really during the movie. So I don't know if I'm well equipped to give it a solid score, but I did like the song at the end and like the dancing scene. You know, I'd give it like a 7.
Okay.
Like it was good. Like I noticed it at the end and I had a good time with it. Yeah, it was enjoyable.
What I would say for score, I was gonna give it a 7.5 or 8. I'll give it a 7.5. It was good. Nothing in this movie was even 5 or below.
Like
Everything in this movie was good. It's a well done movie. The score for me, I noticed multiple times. Okay, so like score and soundtrack. For soundtrack, I'm talking about the actual songs they picked to put in the movie.
Okay.
Those were well done. They picked the right songs at the right times. They weren't forced to me. Everything fit in that time. The soundtrack was good. The score to me was even better than the soundtrack. Honestly, I would give it an 8. I'm gonna move up. The score was great to me. There was a lot of swelling when like you needed to feel the emotion more. With that little humming tune she had, that felt like so authentic to like I don't know what, but it was really nice, and it felt that gave it more of a thrillery, horror-y time when they needed that. And then sometimes they use that hum in a different type of mood, and it was more of a calming type of thing. And I really liked that adding. I really liked that a lot, and I was a fan of the score. All the instrumental parts and the songs they picked were fit to me. Everything fit great. It amplified the movie, and I think without the score and soundtrack in this movie, it would not have been as good as it was. So I'm giving it an 8.
Okay, I'm gonna give it a 7.75. Not a 7.5, not an 8. Like right in the middle of the 7.5 and an 8. The score was a lot better than the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack, if I was ranking it, would be a 5, because I am a sucker for like really good soundtracks. And it only had one song I think that recurred. Really,
There was like 2.
That's dancing song.
I just remember the dancing song and the song at the end.
Yeah. Those were the only 2 I really remember, and the one at the end was like once it was in the
I
movie.
think it was only in
Yeah.
It
There was
was
only a
not
couple
the
songs.
Okay, so I'm gonna give the soundtrack a 5, but if I had to rank the score, I'd give it a 9. So I'm gonna around like a 7.5, 7.75. I loved it, and I just looked up the budget, and it was $10 million, which I thought it was more than that.
Wait, that was their like
That was the
soundtrack budget?
no, just for the movie.
No. That's
So
actually-
that's a testimony to how good the score was, because finding good musicians to really know what they're doing to add to a movie is a really hard thing. And I know a lot of that money probably went to Jack Quaid and Sophie Thatcher.
100%.
So, and the director. So that's where most of that budget went. And I thought they did really, really, really good with every single facet of it.
That budget is gonna help me bump the score up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie for everything or overall I guess because $10 million. That movie came across a lot higher budget than $10 million to me.
I was getting like $30 million budget.
category.
Okay, so I added a category, and that's for its genre.
Okay.
And I think for a comedy, romance, dark comedy, I think it was a 9.5 out of 10. That's like what I want out of that genre. That's like the peak of that genre for me. And dark comedy, man, that was it. I laughed like 30 times in the movie, and I don't really laugh at movies much, so I thought it was great.
For the genre.
Yeah. So for the genre, so dark comedy thriller. I would also say like going into it, I had no expectations whatsoever. I just saw the one trailer when we saw Nosferatu.
Yeah.
I was intrigued, and then I was asked, "Do you want to come see it?" And I was like, "Sure." $5 tickets.
Yeah.
Tuesday.
Yep. And so I think I would have to give it like a 9, 9.5, because like if you go into it knowing it's a dark comedy thriller, you're gonna get what you expect. Like you're going to get it and maybe a little more.
Yep.
Because it is actually hilarious. So
Yes.
I would
agree.
also give it a 9, 9.5.
And I was thinking, a 9. I'll give it a 9. I'm not gonna do a half. 9.5 is fair too. It was what you want out of dark comedy thriller. It was funny, and sometimes it was light funny, but a lot of times it was that dark comedy that was in the movie. It wasn't so dark that it was forced to be like a weird, morbid comedy. It was just funny, and it was it was well done. The comedy was well written and well acted. So it came across very well to me. That was one of the funnier, maybe the funniest thriller movies I've ever seen. Genuinely. I don't think I've ever laughed so much at a thriller movie that I can think of off the top of my head.
Can't lie. The funniest I've probably seen is Terrifier.
Okay.
The first one, like, yeah,
That's
no,
not thriller.
he's got the shirt.
In the third one, dude.
That's a slasher.
It's so funny.
Yeah, so we're not calling it. I guess it's. I don't know. The first one is more thriller. With all that being said, for me, like I said in my Letterboxd review, I don't think I would personally go see it again. If it's on streaming services and someone's like, "Oh, let's watch it," I'd be like, "Okay, I'll watch it again." But I don't think I'm gonna go. I don't think I'll ever go on my way to watch it again.
Yeah. You get everything you need from this movie in the first watch. But that doesn't say it's a bad movie because of that. I think it's something you just need to watch once and you'll be like, okay, that was great. And now I don't really need to see it again.
It checks the boxes and it covers the bases, and you get that from the first watch. I think I got that from the first watch, and it's not something that I'm like, oh, I need to go check. I would watch the movie again. It's definitely not something I'm going out of my way to see again, though. I agree with you. It's like what you said. If that movie is on, or we're like hanging out or something, that movie gets put on, I'll watch it again. I will watch it again. I will laugh again. That movie will be funny to me again and again. It's funny, but yeah, the twists are good, but they're not twists that are so good that you have to watch it again.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Like Gavin said, you get everything from the first watch, all the twists, all the comedy, which I'll still laugh at again. But you will you get it from first watch. There's nothing you go back and you're like, oh, I need to see that again, but with new, fresh eyes. Like Attack on Titan's a good example.
I gotta watch that. So I don't
Like when the second watch on Attack on Titan, you're like, how did I miss this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything from this movie is gonna be like, how did I miss that?
There was a couple things. There was a couple little things that come back, but they're not like main.
But
huge.
I don't need to watch the movie again to go get that. Like, they're not huge plot points.
Right.
It's just little things.
I was gonna say you could add another category for rewatchability.
Yeah.
That can be another category.
That is actually a great idea. For my rewatchability, I would say 4 is maybe even 3.
Okay.
Just because, like, if someone really wants to watch it, I'll be like, okay, put it on.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm not, like, if someone's, like, putting up, like, 3 movies to pick for the night to watch, it's not going to be my first choice at all. Like, I don't think it will.
That's true. I'll agree. I'll say a 4. That's my final score for rewatchability.
I'm
4.
going to say 4.5. My favorite movie, Troll 2, 10 out of 10 rewatchability, but everything else is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. But it's just so funny.
My out of theater, and I told Liam this on the way out, I gave it like a 6.5 because it's good. Like it's above average. You get what you want. It's good for its genre. The acting and the writing's good. I don't think I would want to watch it again. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I give it like 6.5. It's above mediocre.
I would say it's hard for me to score. Like, for some reason, for me, scoring on a 10-point scale is so different than scoring like a Rotten Tomatoes score. Or like,
Is that like the percentage?
yeah,
Or
like, it's
stars?
totally different. If I was a Rotten Tomatoes critic and I was rating this movie, it would be like a 90% to me.
Well, I think don't the critics do stars, but then it averages out to give the score. Yeah, because when I look at Rotten Tomatoes scores, I know audience scores are by stars,
Okay.
and I think critics, I think it depends on where they work. Because I've seen out of 4.
Okay. What the hell?
Yeah, I've seen like it's like a 1.5 out of 4. Like what is it?
Okay.
Like why is it a 4?
Anyway, if I was, what a Rotten Tomatoes score tells you. Right now I think it's sitting at a 93%. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I think that's fair, and that's qualifying a different level. But if I was rating the movie out of 10, which is different to me for some reason, I don't know why.
That is a different. That's a
different. You know what I mean? It
Yeah,
feels
no,
different.
it's because it's a percentage. So you think of it as a grade, like in
Yeah,
school. So
yes.
70 is average.
It's an A to me. It's getting an A to me. And I'm giving it a 90%. That's an A. This is a low A.
That's on Rotten Tomatoes, like a grade
I'm
school
going to give
score.
it like a 92 on Rotten Tomatoes, but my final score was a 77.5, 7.75 out of 10.
I was gonna say 7. I was gonna say a 7.5 out of 10.
I guess I'm a hater.
No, that's still, bro. 6.5, like we said.
it's
That's
not
above
good.
average.
That's
It's
Yeah,
a
no,
good movie.
no, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
The rewatchability really just tanks.
Yeah, I think that's what does it for me is the rewatchability tanks it. So like I had a good time, so I'd give it a 6.5. But if there was more rewatchability to it, it would probably be like 7.5,
Yes.
almost 8.
Right. Agreed. Totally agree. But see, like rewatchability, I feel like doesn't factor into a Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah,
It
that's
tells you how good the movie is.
Rotten Tomatoes to me, if it's below 70, that's when it's usually like not
Yeah.
that good.
Yeah.
And that's because they go off like a grade school format score.
Agreed. That's totally valid.
Okay, so after all, this movie is great. I think you should definitely go watch it, whether it be by yourself or on a date or with friends. And yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
It's a great movie. Checks all the boxes. Does everything well. I'm repeating myself like I have been the whole time, but it's a good movie. You should watch the movie. I recommend the movie.
It's a great movie. It does everything you want it to do, but it doesn't do so much more to where it would make it like your top movie of the year. I recommend watching it with friends. I think it's funnier.
Yeah,
I think it's a type of comedy movie where you would want to watch it with friends, in my opinion.
Okay.
So for me, this movie is if you can get discounted tickets, that's when I would see it. Otherwise, I think it's something you can wait to see at home. It's not something you have to see in theaters.
This will be an enjoyable movie at home. This will be a fun movie to sit at home and watch. 100%.
I was thinking the same thing. I think this is a discount ticket movie where you want to go see it in a theater because everything's better in the theaters. But also, this is a good romance comedy movie to watch with your loved one. So if you wanted to watch it in bed or like just lay down and watch it while you're before bed, it's a great movie for that.
Just so you know, since this is the first video, we're going to have 4 categories ranging from must see in theater. That's the best quality.
Number 1, like Endgame, No Way Home type things.
Yeah, must see in theater.
Or like Dune. Or it's like an amazing movie.
Or Oppenheimer or something, yeah.
That's a movie theater movie. And discount tickets is this movie. It's a great movie. But this is a movie that I would only go see in theater if you're a theater person. I'm a theater person, so I would watch this movie in theater if I had the chance to do it over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, this is like our kind of thing. Hopefully I can come back some more
Yes, sir.
reviews, and I will gladly go to the theaters any chance I get.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then the third
is just wait until it releases at home and
watch
just get
streaming
it for free.
services. Streaming services.
There's nothing wrong with waiting, but there are definitely movies you have to see in theaters.
And the fourth category is absolute stinker dog trash. Do not watch at all. Do not
Let
watch.
there be carnage tier. Do not
Oh,
watch that movie.
Dude, Black Widow. Garbage. Do not watch it, dude.
Okay. That's the categories. It's pretty simple. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. This movie is discount tickets. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well,
Okay.
that does it for the review. So we hope you liked the video.
Yep.
And see y'all later.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.